You know, if you're anything like me, you've probably spent years, maybe decades, building up a digital library of your favorite movies, TV shows, and music. And I bet you felt that same pull, that desire to have your very own streaming service, one that's perfectly organized, looks amazing, and you can get to it from anywhere. But, and this is the big one, without all the monthly fees and without some company looking over your shoulder.
I mean, who hasn't, right? The idea of having your own personal Netflix, but it's filled with your stuff. That's the dream. Well, that dream is exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're talking about personal media servers, these awesome tools that can take a, let's be honest, probably messy folder of files and transform it into this beautiful, slick interface that you have total control over. So let's break it down. What exactly is a media server? Well, at its core, it's just a piece of software. You run it on a computer you have at home. Could be an old laptop, a tiny little device, whatever. It then goes to work, scanning all your media files, and this is the magic part, it automatically pulls in all the cool stuff like movie posters, cast lists, plot summaries, the whole shebang. Then, it serves all that up, ready to stream to your phone, your TV, your tablet, literally anywhere. Okay, so once you start exploring this world, you're going to quickly find that there are three big names that pop up everywhere. It's kind of like a classic showdown story, you know? You've got the established champions, and then you've got the up-and-coming challenger. So in one corner, you've got the heavyweights, Plex and Emby. These guys are the commercial giants. They're super well-known, they're incredibly slick, and they've been doing this for a long time. They give you this really polished, premium experience that feels, you know, a lot like the Netflix or Disney Plus you're already used to. And then, in the other corner, we have the challenger. This one is different. It's community-driven, built from the ground up with a totally different philosophy. And that challenger is Jellyfin. It's the fully open-source alternative, and believe me, it has been gaining some serious momentum lately.
And boom, right here, this table just lays it all out. You can see the fundamental difference immediately. See, Plex and Emby, they work on what's called a freemium model. There's a free version, but there's a catch. Jellyfin, it's just free. Completely free, and it's fully open source. Now pay close attention to that last row, hardware transcoding. That might sound a little technical, but trust me, it's an absolutely crucial feature, and we're about to see just how big of a deal that one little line really is.
Right, so with Jellyfin, when we say free, it's not just about not having to pay. It's about something much, much bigger. It really comes down to a fundamental question. Who is in control here? You or someone else? Okay, let's talk about that hardware transcoding thing I mentioned. This is the heart of it. Think of it this way. Your computer's graphics card is a beast when it comes to handling video. It's what it's built for. Transcoding is just using that power to make sure your big, high-quality movie file plays perfectly smooth on any screen, whether it's your giant 4K TV or your little phone screen. Now here's the kicker. Plex and Emby make you pay them a subscription fee to unlock the ability to use the hardware you already bought and paid for. It's wild, right? Jellyfin, on the other hand, just lets you use your own stuff. For free, forever.
And this right here, this comment from a user says it all. The mothership they're talking about, those are the company's servers for Plex or Emby. See, because they're commercial products, they often need to check in with Homebase to make sure you're allowed to use them. So if your internet goes out, or worse, their servers have a problem, you could be completely locked out of watching movies on a server that's sitting in your own house. It's crazy. Jellyfin, it never needs to phone home. It just works.
This whole philosophy of true ownership, it leads to some really fantastic perks. First off, it's truly yours. Your privacy is total. No company is keeping tabs on what you're watching. It also handles more types of media right out of the box, things like audiobooks and even comics. Plus, you can customize it like crazy with all sorts of community plugins. And get this, features like offline downloads, you know, for saving a movie to your tablet for a long flight, that's something you often have to pay for with the others. With Jellyfin, it's just there, included. No extra charge.
Okay, so the philosophy sounds great, right? It's compelling stuff. But let's get real. How does this thing actually work in practice? Is it a total pain to set up? And when you get it running, how does it actually perform compared to the big guys?
Look, I'm not gonna lie, there can be a little bit more of a learning curve, but setting up remote access, which is what you need to stream when you're not at home, is actually pretty straightforward once you break it down. It really just comes down to these 4 steps. You flick a switch in the settings, you tell your home router to let the signal through, you get a stable address so you can find it on the internet, and then you lock it down with a strong password and 2-factor authentication. Totally doable.
All right, so we've established you can get it up and running, but that's only half the battle. Can it actually handle the job? Does free also mean it's slow or clunky? How does it really perform?
Well, a really curious user over on Reddit decided to find out for themselves. It's kind of like a little science experiment. They took all three, the free versions of Plex, Emby, and Jellyfin, and installed them on a teeny tiny little computer, a Raspberry Pi 5. Then they just watched. They monitored how each one used the computer's resources while streaming the exact same video file.
And what they found is actually pretty fascinating. It's not really about one being better than the other, it's just that they work differently under the hood. Plex, for instance, had these fluctuating CPU patterns and then a big spike in memory use right at the end of an episode. Jellyfin and Emby, though, were really similar to each other. They had their big spike in CPU and memory right around the middle of the episode. It just goes to show there's more than one way to get the job done, and the end result for you, the viewer, is a smooth stream.
But here's where the story takes a really cool turn. The impact of Jellyfin goes way beyond just being an app for your personal movie collection. Because it's free, because it's open, and because it doesn't need the internet to work, it can become this incredible tool for empowering entire communities in a way that commercial software just can't. I want to take you to Ocean View, South Africa. The Enethi project there is tackling a huge problem. See, in this community, mobile data is super expensive. That high cost creates this massive digital divide, making it hard for people to get access to education, start businesses, or even share their own local culture. The Enethi project set out to change all that by building their own local network.
And I want you to really look at this because this is not just about servers and software. This is a vision board from one of their community workshops. Those are their dreams up there. They're talking about connection, about knowledge, about opportunity. This is the why. This is the real human need that all this technology is trying to serve.
So they had a very specific problem to solve. How do local musicians, artists, and teachers share their work when nobody can afford to stream it from the internet? They couldn't just upload to YouTube and call it a day. They needed their own local offline streaming platform. And guess what they chose? Right there, you can see it in their installer. They chose Jellyfin. It became the absolute core of their local content server. It's the engine that powers their local news station, OVTV. It's how local musicians share their music across the community's own Wi-Fi network, without anyone having to pay a single cent for data. It's amazing.
What this does is it transforms Jellyfin from just a personal media app into something much bigger, a digital commons. It's this idea of a shared digital resource, something that's collectively owned and managed by the community, for the benefit of everyone in that community. It's about taking back control from huge corporations and building something for yourselves.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've gone from personal servers all the way to community empowerment. So now let's bring it back to you. After all this, which server is the right one for you?
Well, it really breaks down like this. If you're the kind of person who just wants a super polished, incredibly user-friendly experience that just works right out of the box, and you don't mind paying for a subscription to get that, then honestly, Plex or Emby are fantastic choices. But if you're someone who values total control, absolute privacy, and loves to tinker and customize things, and if you believe in the power of free, open-source software, then Jellyfin offers a path that is incredibly powerful and, I'd argue, maybe even more rewarding in the long run.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. We live in a world that's just dominated by digital subscriptions, right? We're constantly renting access to our music, our movies, our shows. So what's the real value of true privacy, of actual ownership, and of tools that are built by a community for a community? That really is the choice that a project like Jellyfin puts on the table.
All right, let's talk about leveling up your WordPress site. You know content is king, but these days, video is the real powerhouse. We're going to dive into how you can use one of the best platforms out there, Vimeo, to really make your videos work for you, right inside WordPress. So, let's get into it.
First things first, why is this so critical right now? Well, the numbers really don't lie. A massive 91% of businesses are now using video as a marketing tool. Seriously, this isn't some passing trend anymore. It's just how business is done. If you're not using video, you are definitely missing out. And you know, that 91% stat ties directly into the goals you probably have for your own website, right? You want people to stick around longer on your pages? Video is amazing for that. You need to build up your brand and just get your name out there? Video is perfect. And of course, the big one, getting more leads. Video is an absolute game changer in all these areas. Okay, so we get the why. We know we need video. The real question is, how? How do you actually get all those amazing benefits on your WordPress site without it slowing to a crawl or dealing with ugly video players or, worst of all, losing control over your own content? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're going to solve today. Now, you've probably considered one of these two routes. First, self-hosting. It seems simple, right? Just upload the file. But trust me, it's a trap. Huge video files will eat up your server resources and make your website painfully slow. Then there's YouTube. It's free, sure, but you pay for it in other ways. YouTube slaps its logo all over your stuff, runs ads, and even suggests videos from your competitors right after yours finishes. For a professional website, neither of these is a great look. And that, my friends, is where Vimeo comes in as the professional's choice. But wait, before we even get to embedding, the first step to having a beautiful video on your site is giving Vimeo a beautiful file to work with. So let's talk about prepping your video for the best possible quality. Okay, you're going to hear this word codec. It sounds super technical, but don't let it scare you. All a codec is the technology used to compress your video. Think of it like a super smart way to pack a suitcase. It squeezes everything down to save space for travel, or in this case for streaming, without wrinkling or damaging the high-quality stuff inside. So just screenshot this slide. This is your cheat sheet. When you're exporting your video from your editing software, these are the settings you want. The big one to pay attention to is the video codec. H.264 is the gold standard everywhere. It gives you that perfect mix of high quality and small file size. Oh, and please, make sure your frame rate is set to constant. Variable frame rates can cause weird, choppy playback, and nobody wants that. All right, so your video is prepped and you've uploaded it to Vimeo. Awesome. So now what? How do we get it onto your WordPress site in a smart, powerful way? The answer, my friend, is plugins. They are the magic bridge that connects your Vimeo account directly to your website. And let's be super clear here, we are talking about so much more than just copying and pasting a simple embed code. A good plugin turns your video from just a box on a page into a dynamic, automated part of your website. It's the difference between just showing a video and actually using a video. There are a bunch of plugins out there, but these three are consistently at the top of the pile. Presto Player is an absolute beast for marketers and people selling courses. Vimeography is fantastic for photographers, filmmakers, anyone who wants to create a really beautiful, clean video gallery. And EmbedPress is a great all-around tool if you're embedding lots of different kinds of media, not just Vimeo videos. So what does this actually do for you? Well, let's take a plugin like Vimeo as an example. You can literally tell it, hey, every time I upload a new video to my Vimeo channel, automatically create a new blog post for it in WordPress. It'll grab the thumbnail, make it your featured image, sync the title. The whole thing is automated. I mean, think about the incredible amount of time that saves. It's huge. Okay, so we've got the tech sorted out. Now for the really exciting part, the why. This is where we stop just putting videos on a page and start turning them into real, hardworking assets for your business. Assets that protect your work, make you money, and grow your audience. Creating a premium, members-only video course or library is probably way easier than you think. It's really just 3 steps. First, inside Vimeo, you set the video's privacy to hide from Vimeo. That means no one can find it on their site, but you can still embed it. Second, you use a standard WordPress membership plugin to handle all the payments and user accounts. And third, you just tell that plugin, hey, this page with my videos, only paying members can see it. Done. And this right here is the secret sauce that makes it all secure. Domain-level privacy. It's an amazing feature on Vimeo's paid plans. You literally tell Vimeo, this video can only be played on my website.com. So if someone tries to copy your embed code and paste it on their own site, it just won't work. A little broken player icon will show up. It ensures your premium content stays premium. But it's not just about protection. Vimeo has some incredible marketing tools built right in. You can add a lead capture form inside the video player itself, and you can then have those leads automatically sent over to your email service like MailChimp or HubSpot. And here's a cool one. You can create an animated GIF from a clip of your video to embed in your follow-up emails. We know those animated GIFs get way more clicks. Okay, so you're probably thinking, I'm in. This sounds awesome. But which plan do I actually need? It can be a little confusing, so let's break down the different pricing tiers so you can make a smart choice and not end up overpaying. Here's the quick and dirty breakdown. The starter plan is perfect if you're a solo creator and just need the basics, like password protection. The standard plan, though, that's really the sweet spot for most businesses. You get way more storage and you get full control over branding. You can remove the Vimeo logo, customize the player colors, add your own calls to action. Then, if you're getting into live events and webinars, the advanced plan is the one for you. Now pay attention here, because this is super important. Before you sign up, you need to know the limits. Vimeo now has lifetime storage caps on their plans, which is a big change. Once you hit that cap, you have to upgrade. Also, there's a 2 terabyte monthly bandwidth limit. Now, that's a lot, but if one of your videos goes viral, it's something to watch. And finally, keep an eye on the number of seats or team members included. Adding more people will add to your monthly cost. So to bring it all home, let's just look at them side by side one last time. When you see it like this, the choice for a business is just crystal clear. With Vimeo, you get powerful privacy, total control over your brand, and you can sell your content directly. With YouTube, you get amazing reach, but you give up control over almost everything else. For professional videos on your own website, Vimeo is just the undisputed champ. And that really leads to the final question you should ask yourself. You spend a lot of time, effort, and probably money creating your videos. They're valuable assets. So the question is your website really putting those powerful assets to work for you? Or are they just kind of sitting there? The answer to that could change everything for your business. Are you completely drowning in a sea of streaming services? You know, each one with its own app, its own subscription fee. It's a mess. Well, what if you could take back control of all of it and build your very own personal Netflix? Today, we're going to show you how. And honestly, it's way easier than you might think. I mean, you know the drill, right? You've got movies on one hard drive, your TV shows are on another, and your music, it's scattered all over the place. And all the while, those subscription bills just keep piling up. It's disorganized, it's getting really expensive, and frankly, it's just chaotic. Okay, now just imagine this for a second. A single, beautiful interface that pulls all of your media together. Every single movie, show, and album you own. And it streams it to any device you have anywhere in the world. No ads, no monthly fees. It's just your content completely under your control. That right there is the magic of a personal media server. So what is a media server, really? At its heart, it's basically the brain of your personal streaming operation. It's a piece of software that you run on a computer in your home. It scans all your media files, it goes out and grabs all the beautiful artwork and info, and then it gets everything ready to stream perfectly to your TV, your phone, or your tablet. Right, so before you can start building anything, you gotta choose your tools. And in the world of media servers, there are really 3 main contenders: Plex, Jellyfin, and Emby. Each one has its own vibe, its own philosophy, and its own strengths. So let's break them down. So when you look at this, it all really comes down to a balance between cost, convenience, and control. Plex, it offers the most polished kind of plug-and-play experience, but it locks some of the best features behind a paywall. Jellyfin is completely free and open source, which is awesome. It gives you total control, but you might have to tinker with it a bit more. And Emby, which is our focus today, sits right in that sweet spot in the middle, offering a fantastic balance of flexibility and user-friendliness. So, your choice is pretty straightforward. Do you prefer the polished path, where you pay for convenience, or the privacy-focused path, where everything's free and you have total control? For this explainer, we're choosing Emby. It's that flexible middle ground that gives you a really powerful and customizable experience. All right, enough talk. Let's move from theory to practice and get our Emby server up and running. And don't worry, the initial setup is surprisingly simple. Here are the first 5 steps to breathing some life into your server. First, you just download and install the Emby server software on whatever computer you're using. Next, create your administrator account, and please remember that password. Then, a couple of really crucial network steps. Make sure your computer's network profile is set to private. That just makes it discoverable on your home network. And you'll need to add an exception for Emby in your firewall. Finally, the fun part. You tell Emby where all your movie and TV show folders are. Okay, so your server is running, it looks beautiful on your home network, but what happens when you leave the house? This brings us to probably the biggest challenge for most new builders: remote access. And this quote from a user on the Emby subreddit just perfectly captures why this is so important. After you build this amazing library, you want to be able to get to it when you're traveling or at a friend's house or, yeah, even if you're bored in a hospital room. So how do you do it? How do you punch a hole through the internet to safely reach your server? Well, you've got options. There's the old school way, simple port forwarding on your router, or you can use Emby's own Connect service. But honestly, for more security and simplicity, a lot of people are turning to modern solutions like VPN tunnels with Tailscale or setting up something called a reverse proxy. Let's just simplify that choice, because it can seem overwhelming. You've basically got the easy way, and you've got the powerful way. If you want easy, something like Tailscale is fantastic. You install an app on your server, an app on your phone, and boom, it creates a secure, private tunnel between them. No messing with complex router settings. If you want the powerful way, a reverse proxy is the end goal. It's more work for sure, but it lets you do cool stuff like use a custom domain name and manage security like a pro. Okay, listen up because this is so important. The moment you open your server up to the internet, even through a secure tunnel, security stops being a suggestion. It becomes a requirement. This is not a step you can afford to skip. And the stakes are absolutely real. In May 2023, hackers actively found and compromised Emby servers that were improperly configured. They got full administrative access, stole credentials, installed backdoors, the whole 9 yards. And this wasn't a flaw in Emby itself. It was a flaw in the server setups. The self-hosting community is crystal clear on this. As one Reddit user very bluntly put it, this is basic network security 101. Securing your server isn't just a nice thing to do, it's your responsibility as the administrator of your own service. So, here's your essential security checklist. Non-negotiable stuff. Use strong, unique passwords. Please never, ever use a simple username like admin. Always use a secure HTTPS connection. And here's the big one. Create a totally separate user account for your daily watching that does not have admin privileges. Even better, disable remote access for your main admin account completely. Okay, deep breath. We got through the serious security stuff. You've built the server, you've secured it, you can access it anywhere. Now for the really fun part. Unlocking the advanced features that turn your good media server into a truly great one. Now, while Emby's core is free, its premium subscription, which is called Emby Premier, unlocks some seriously powerful tools. This is where your server really gets its superpowers. First up, hardware transcoding. This is a game changer. It lets your computer's graphics card handle video conversions, which is absolutely crucial for streaming 4K content or serving multiple people at once without your system grinding to a halt. You also get a full-featured live TV and DVR, so you can watch and record broadcast TV. Downloads and Sync lets you save media right to your phone for offline viewing, and then you get great utility features like the cover art plugin and a dedicated backup and restore tool that make managing your server a total breeze. So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? We've gone from the initial idea to the core decisions, the actual build, and the security to lock it all down. You now have the complete blueprint to build your own personal streaming universe. So the whole journey really begins with a question, and this one's for you. What matters most to you? Is it the effortless polish of a service like Plex, the absolute privacy and control of something like Jellyfin, or is it the flexible power and customization of Emby? There's no wrong answer here, only the path that's right for you. Now go build something amazing.
You know that feeling, right? Juggling a dozen different streaming subscriptions, trying to remember which service has that one show you actually want to watch? What if you could just take back control, build your very own personal Netflix, filled with only the stuff you love? Well, you can, and today we're going to walk through exactly how to do it.
It's a great question, isn't it? I mean, think back to just having a shelf of DVDs or Blu-rays. It was your collection. You picked a disc, you put it in, and you watched it. It was simple, there was a real satisfaction in owning it, a simplicity that feels like it's totally gotten lost.
Because what started as this simple promise, all the content you could ever want right on demand, has just exploded into this, the streaming jungle. It's a total mess of exclusive content, shows that just vanish without warning, and constantly hopping between platforms. I mean, you can have different seasons of the same show on different services. The convenience we were promised? Yeah, that's pretty much gone.
And this gets us right to the heart of the problem: streaming service overload. It's not just confusing, it's also quietly draining your bank account and honestly robbing you of any real control over your own entertainment.
$500. That's what a typical household is spending every single year just to subscribe to a handful of these services. And think about it. At the end of the year, what do you actually have to show for it? Nothing. Not a thing. You don't own any of it, and you have zero control over whether it'll even be there tomorrow.
Let's be real. With streaming, you're basically just renting. You're paying these monthly fees for access to content that can disappear overnight, all while their algorithms are busy telling you what they think you should watch next. But when you own your media, it's a one-time thing, and it's yours, forever. And the only algorithm that matters is you.
So how do we get out of this jungle and get back to that feeling of ownership and control? Well, let's talk about the solution. It's time to meet Plex. This is your ticket to media liberation.
So what is it? At its heart, Plex Media Server is this incredibly smart application. You basically feed it your own collection of media, your movies, TV shows, music, even your home videos and photos, and it automatically organizes everything into this beautiful, super easy-to-use library that you can get to from any of your devices.
In this quote right here, it just perfectly nails the magic of Plex. It gives you that polished, premium Netflix-style experience, with all the cool posters, trailers, and info, but the entire library is filled with your stuff. You're not hoping Netflix keeps your favorite show around. You've got it whenever you want, wherever you are.
Feeling inspired? Good, because now we're getting into the fun part, the how-to. And look, this isn't some crazy, far-fetched tech dream. It's a completely doable project. So here's the blueprint for getting your own server up and running.
Okay, the foundation of your personal Netflix is a network-attached storage device, or NAS for short. Just think of it like a small, really efficient computer that's designed to be the central, always-on home for all your files. And as you can see here, there are great options for literally every need and budget, from a simple setup for home streaming all the way to future-proof 8K-ready powerhouses. And the setup itself, honestly, it's as simple as this. You install the Plex app right on your NAS. It's usually in its app store. Then you just create a few folders for your movies and shows. You give the Plex app permission to see those folders, and finally, you just point Plex to them. That's really it.
Now, here is a tip that will save you a world of headaches later. Trust me on this one. Organization is key. Before you dump a single file on your NAS, create a nice, clean folder structure. A main Plex or media folder with subfolders inside for movies, TV shows, and so on. This super simple step is what lets Plex work its magic, automatically figuring out what you have and pulling in all that beautiful artwork and info.
All right, so once you have the basics down and everything's running, you can start to fine-tune your server. These are the steps that take your setup from just a fun little project to a really robust, professional-feeling service that you and your family can count on.
So what are these pro-level tweaks? First, a static IP address. It sounds techy, but it just makes sure your server's address on your home network never changes, so your devices can always find it. Easy. Next is hardware transcoding. If your NAS has a decent graphics chip, this lets it handle video conversion without breaking a sweat, which means super smooth playback even on big 4K files. A reverse proxy, again, sounds complicated, but it's just a secure, encrypted gateway for when you're watching your stuff away from home. And finally, regular backups. This one is so important. It saves all your metadata, so if anything ever happens to your server, you don't lose all your curated playlists and watch history.
And after all that, what's the payoff? This. Your entire media collection, every movie, every show, every album, perfectly organized, looking amazing, and ready to stream to any device you own. Whether you're on your couch or halfway around the world, your whole library is right there. This is what total ownership feels like.
So, the only question left is, are you ready to stop renting and start owning? Are you ready to ditch the streaming jungle for good and build a media library that works for you on your terms? It's way simpler than you think, and the reward is an experience that is truly 100% yours.